Welcome everybody. I'm excited to have Myles Daniel here. How you doing, Myles?
I'm doing well. How about yourself?
Doing good, man. Thanks for hopping on the call today. We'll jump right into it. I know we don't have a crazy ton of time, so really wanted to first ask you just a little bit about your business here. You want to just give me a backstory of, what market you're in, what you're currently doing on the investment business?
Yeah. So I've been investing for a little over 3 years, maybe 3.5 years coming up. I, I mostly do fix and flip, and I'm in the Greenville, South Carolina market for a majority. I would say until the last year or so, everything I've done has either been organic, auction, that type of thing. And then I really started making a push to have an online presence, start some direct marketing, and start doing some things that generate more leads and more opportunities. And so you guys have been a part of that. And I've told you in your team this. We want more. We want to do more. That's
I get
the
that a
thing.
lot.
So yeah. That's kind of in a nutshell, who I am and what we do. So most
Awesome.
of the stuff that comes in through PPC, we're flipping as much as we can with it.
Gotcha. Okay. Okay. So mainly before you're doing PPC and stuff, mainly auctions as well. Were you doing other marketing, like you said, direct mail? Like what other types of marketing channel were you doing before PPC, whether it's 2019, 2020?
Yeah, yeah. Yes, the mail. Before I started PPC, a little bit before that, I'm doing some radio advertising. I What else have we done? Like I said, a lot of it was organic networking. My mom's a realtor in the area. The market has gotten really tight, and so that has
Yeah.
effectively disappeared.
Yeah.
Getting anything that way. I kind of had a slow build, and then I got to a point where I had the capacity and had contractors and things to take on more. And that's kind of when I started turning to, wanting to get online.
Gotcha. Okay, awesome. So there's a ton of different marketing channels, and most of our clients, their bread and butter is either like direct mail or cold calling or voicemails or text blast or something like that. So I'm
Yep.
curious, when you started to have more bandwidth to do more volume and you wanted to start investing in more marketing, why did you end up choosing PPC versus going all in with direct mail or all in with cold calling or something like that? Or maybe you did that as well, but what made you choose PPC versus those avenues?
Right. So we uh, we love people coming to us. Typically, the motivation is higher. You have a lot less nonsense,
Mm,
and you respond instead of so much outreach. There is an element to this business where you do need to be doing outreach. And now that you mentioned, I start thinking of all the marketing channels. Yes, we do. We've done text. We've done everything that you can think of, besides, I guess, a billboard.
right. Which
We've
is a bad
done.
idea.
Yeah. So we've tried it all, and so we loved the idea of people with a motivation and wanting a solution, usually in the short term,
Hmm.
is where we want to be. And even if it costs more, and it does, you usually those leads, the leads thus far have been really high quality, and we haven't you guys handle everything, so we don't have to grind to get them. So the main reason we kind of went this direction.
Gotcha. Okay, so you're saying the leads are higher quality, right? When someone is inbound and they're reaching out to you, naturally they're going to be more motivated than you cold calling them or bothering them with a mail piece or Facebook ads or something like that. So
That's right, correct.
how does that translate into the numbers? Is your conversion rate better? Is it just easier to close? What is the tangible benefit of that?
Yeah. So everything that we've done online, whether it be PPC or organic, through SEO efforts, those, either I'm a heck of a sales guy and can close,
Yeah.
or which is more, this is the latter is more likely. These people are more motivated, and
Mm,
they have a desire to have a real solution in short order. So We have just found that we want people reaching out to us, and the tangible benefit is less time, higher motivation for the seller, and really the profit margins being higher. So there's benefits, almost at every angle.
Gotcha. So when you say less time, what does that mean? Time doing what exactly?
Yeah. So let's say you cold call. People don't say, "Yeah, I'll sell you my house" the first time you call them, right? So there's this process, this grind. Hey, you need to send a mail. You need to send them a text. You need to cold call again. You need, all these different things. And so you've got a lot more time in just outreach. And then to actually get them to the closing table tends to be more difficult with those. So
Right.
That's what I mean by that.
Gotcha. Yeah. When someone is more motivated to work with you, it's easier to get them to the closing table and to deal with the issues, and they're more flexible and negotiable and all those type of
Correct.
things.
Correct.
Gotcha. So obviously that's a good thing as the leads are higher quality, but with that comes a certain responsibility. And we've seen with our clients, we've had some clients who have struggled, honestly. PPC doesn't work out for everybody. And oftentimes when we dig into their lead management or acquisitions process, it isn't where it needs to be, especially in super competitive markets, to be able to respond to the motivation very quickly. So I'm curious, what does your lead management process look like when the PPC lead comes in the form? What does that process look like in your business?
Right. So one thing that I knew about doing marketing that was going to generate people calling me was that when they call, if you answer, you have a great opportunity of being the only person they speak with, not competing against a list that everyone's calling and dealing with.
Right.
And so you asked specifically about the process. I have every notification you can think of that alerts me when I get an email in from Carrot. So I would say 95% of the time I respond in less than 5 minutes.
And you're the acquisitions guy? You're the one taking the calls?
Yeah. And I've also found that is a big factor as well. If you're on the website, your face, either you or your business partner, your family, whatever it may be, you're the one who answers the phone, instant credibility. And yeah, you could pass it on to someone else. But I think that there's a huge piece to being the guy. So yes, I am.
Gotcha. Okay, so the lead comes in and you usually call them back within 5 minutes or so when the lead comes in.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
correct.
Gotcha. Awesome. Okay, great. Yeah, I mean, that's what we see oftentimes. Our clients who are doing really well are on top of the leads and are getting back to them in 5 or 10 minutes or so. So
Exactly.
For anyone listening, you got to have that. It's really non-negotiable if you're doing PPC. So you were talking about the margins of your deals. Can you break down a little bit of the numbers? You don't have to be like super exact if you don't want to be, but you've been working with us, I think 6 months, maybe a little bit less than that, roughly. So what are the average deal profit roughly that you've gotten in, and what kind of revenue have you generated so far?
Yeah. So we have closed in this time 4 deals in the 6 months. A piece of it is I'm not in a Phoenix, but there's definitely competition here. So there's not like I'm the only option, right? And we started at probably the worst time that you can actually start with, that type of marketing through the cold
fall,
months, the holidays coming, all that kind of stuff.
Right.
So those numbers might be a little skewed. I think it's going to pick up, and I pray it picks up. I want it to. We'll spend whatever to get these kind of leads. But so we've closed 4 and we've flipped all 4. And so the first one we did, that one is actually closed, and we netted 48,000 on it. It was a 2-week project, carpet paint, new countertops. I mean, it was one of the easiest deals I've ever done. Yeah, it was. it was great. We did for the first time, we did a mobile home. We typically will wholesale those, but I said the market's really good, and
Yep.
I'm going to try to take a mobile home on. It's a double wide and had some mold issues, and it was crazy. It is under contract, and if it goes through, which we've got another maybe 20 days to close, it's going to be more like 77,000 that we're going to make on
Oh,
it.
on a mobile
Yeah.
home, man. His
Um,
area, South Carolina, there are a ton of mobile homes down there. For those of you who are like, mobile homes, it's very common in his market. So
yeah,
that's
correct.
crazy.
There's a mobile home everywhere you look down here.
Yeah.
It's very common. So um, there's a market for it. And so on that one in particular, we brick underpinned, we detitled it, we made it brand new on the inside, and it turned out beautifully, and it looks like a real home. So
Yeah.
there was another one we're currently working on. My business partner actually is taking on that flip kind of independently. He's got another 2 weeks till he finishes it. I think he's going to be in the neighborhood, the market the way it is. It's going to be a lower end one, but it's probably going to be between 25 to 30,000 net on it. Not a high risk
Yeah.
project, and he's done it in pretty short order. So another great one. And then we close on the fourth deal in about 10 days. It's also going to be a relatively simple one. I would say probably a 3-week project, and my projection will make between 40 and 50 on it.
Okay, so let's say 40, you got the 70 and then the 40. So it's almost 200 in net, I would say, from that. We look 180
Correct.
to 200 out of 4
Correct.
deals. That's crazy.
Correct.
So
It is crazy.
people thinking, wow, netting 180 grand. How much is he spending? Must be an arm and a leg. PPC super expensive. I was just looking at his campaign. In total ad spend, just the ad spend, so not paying us, so far $11,000 was spent in ads. And then paying us, let's say it's probably another 5 grand or so, something like that, over the 6 months. So he's maybe at 16 grand he spent, and he's netting around 180. So that's over 10 times his investment. No wonder why he wants twice as many deals and he wants it to pick up even more, guys.
No,
no, that's
imagine
great,
that.
Man. Yeah. It's if anyone who watches other case studies, every one of our investors says, I just want more. And that's the thing with PPC leads too. I mean, you haven't gotten, I'll look at your campaign here. The total number of leads that have come in roughly is 50 or so. So 4 deals out of 50 leads, that's a deal every 10, 11 leads or 12 leads, something like that, which is pretty standard. So yeah, we just try to get the volume up, and not many marketing channels, you get a deal every 12 leads, and you're not going to net 180 grand off of 50 leads. You're doing cold calling, 50 leads will be 1 deal, maybe 2, right? So
yeah, at a lower margin, much lower margin.
Lower margin, a lot more time invested there. So I'm going to circle back a little bit, and we'll wrap it up here in a minute. When you started to do PPC, did you look at other PPC companies when you decided that was the avenue you wanted to take? Did you just sign up with us? What made you work with us versus, I mean, there are tons of agencies out there, right? So what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, two factors, or 3. Your guys, I look for, first and foremost, when I'm reaching out to people, responsiveness. If you respond to me quickly, I know that it's one or two things. Either you don't have enough business and you're really hungry,
Yeah.
or you are on top of your business. Both of them I kind of like. Either way it went, I'm happy because you're gonna be dedicated. Another thing was the credibility. I know I saw some of the case studies. I've seen who you've worked with in the past, and whether you currently work with them, whether you got them results or not, you were able to convince them and get them to trust you enough to give you an opportunity. So that carries some weight. And I'm trying to think of the third. Oh, affordability. You guys, it's not like you guys are saying, hey, we're way better than everybody else, so we're going to charge you 3 times as much. You guys are very competitive, and been very reasonable. So those 3 factors made it a pretty straightforward choice for us.
Awesome, man. Yeah, thanks for sharing that 100%. Yeah, the price ranges vary very widely with agencies. You can spend up to $1,500 a month, for just the management, or there's some that are $500 a month. We're like somewhere in between, around the $600-700 a month mark, but we get results often better than the $1,500 a month companies. So,
Correct. Yeah.
um, yeah, it makes sense why people end up working with us. So, did you have any hesitations going into PPC that you were worried about or concerned? Any fears like that jumping into it?
Yeah, yeah. You hear constantly about PPC. It's so expensive, and you compete with so many people, and it's going to be you and five other investors out there. And so that was a fear that we were going to spend money. We spent money on marketing channels that got us nothing,
Mm,
and so um, you know, there's always the fear when you start something,
of course.
and so those are some of the things running through our minds, and it's turned out to not be the case when you attack it properly, and we think we are. So those were the fears, and they've been resolved, since getting started. So
Gotcha, gotcha. So what would you tell somebody? Well, let me first ask you this. When you say approach it the right way, what do you mean by that? Is that, can you expand on that just for a minute? Yeah.
yeah, so when I say approach it the right way, it starts with, who do you hire to do it?
Mm,
Your PPC. Are you trying to manage it? Are you trying to teach yourself how to do it? Like, what are you
yeah.
doing? um, and then all the way to, are you answering the call within 5 minutes?
Exactly.
When you go out to the property, how are you presenting yourself there? All of it starts to add up, and so you can have, you know the the guy that they see on the website isn't the guy that answers the phone, and isn't the guy that goes out. Now there's three different people in this person, or same person, all three, same logo on the shirt, so on and
Right.
so forth. And it's a no-brainer for them. They think you're the authority. They don't need to call anyone else. So
Mm,
the way you handle it, from hiring, who you hire to do it, to who you send out there, who's answering the phone, um, the leads that come in, to another part of it, and this was a fear. Okay, how many leads are we going to get? And then, is it going to be hard to manage? And really, you answer within 5 minutes, you get on the phone within 5 minutes, whether this is going to go anywhere or not, typically. And you're you actually don't spend that much
mm,
time. I'm the one,
yep.
I'm wearing all the hats, but I'm not actually spending very much time on it at all.
Right.
So that would be my advice, and that would be, those are some of my fears. And again, since I think we are approaching it the right way, it's all worked out, and it's
Mm.
been great, and we want more. So
That's awesome, man. I love that you said that. We totally agree. And that's a testament that succeeding with PPC isn't just about PPC, right? There are a lot of reasons why
right.
people even have right campaigns doesn't work out. You have to have the whole package, the website, the lead management, the right branding, all that kind of stuff. So I'm really glad you touched on that. Final question here for you. So what would you say to people who have the same fears that PPC is going to be too expensive, it doesn't work in my market, it's too competitive, not enough leads? And these are real fears, and there are real stories of people who have failed, and obviously you've
Yeah.
had success at this point, but what would you tell people who still are worried about that?
Yeah. So effectively, if you're serious about this business, and this is what you want to do, and you're committed to it, you have to try. We have tried everything. Some things work in
Mm,
our market, some things don't. If you sit on the sideline like I did for 2 dumb years and didn't get in,
yeah.
um, you how many hundreds of thousands of dollars potentially did I lose
Mm,
because I wasn't willing to give it a shot? You're talking about, so we've gone over the numbers of what you can net if you do it properly. Okay, so all it takes is one deal, and I can pay for many, many, many years of PPC. So what do you have? You really don't have anything to lose. Give it a shot. It might not work for you. A thing we've tried direct mail here. It was pretty bad, and
Right.
we'll probably give it another shot in the future. But like, you have to try. Things change, markets change, and so I would say $11,000 in the grand scheme of things, when you look at what the upside is peanuts. You have to approach it and think about it that
Mm,
way. And I'm like, I'm having to convince myself of that even now with other marketing channels. Like,
yeah.
hey, spend the money. Yes, it's ticking up, and how much I see going out every month, I'm like, oh, but you look at what it can produce. You have to give it a shot.
Do you have a threshold for like, hey, I'm willing to spend X amount of dollars, and if I don't get a deal with this amount of money, then I'm gonna call it a quits? Where's that point where you're willing to hang on maybe just another month? Do you have that specific number in your head, or you kind of just go by gut?
Yeah, it's a little by gut. Like, for example, we spent 5 grand on mail, and we got some calls, but we got nothing. And even the ones that
Mm,
did call were pretty bad, and they get mail all the time. And we just said, let's say, we could spend 7 grand and we would get a deal. There's a better way to spend the 7 grand, uh, probably going into another market doing PPC. 7 grand will go a long way and probably
mm,
produce a really high quality lead. And so there is a threshold. But again, it's like, you have to try, and we'll probably even try direct mail again at some point, because things change. And so, yeah, I mean, to me, with my market, uh, knowing what PPC has produced, I would say my threshold has gone up for other marketing channels, just
yeah.
because PPC has produced. And if I would maybe be patient with, let's say, direct mail,
Mm,
eventually it comes around. Um, so yeah, there's again, you have to convince yourself that it's worth a shot. There's you really. I think it'd be pretty tough if you stayed consistent for 6 months with PPC and committed and said, even if I don't get a deal and I quote unquote throw the money away, it is worth the potential upside. And I'm a testament of it. I mean, I'm in love with PPC.
yeah. Awesome, man. Hey, I appreciate it so much. Is there any final words before I let you go here?
Um, No,
We
I'm
covered a
glad I
lot.
was able. Yeah, we did, and I'm glad I was able to do this, because
Yes, thank you.
I've depended on other people's testimony, if you will, to what they've tried and who they've worked with to make my decisions. And so, I hope this helps somebody, not in my market,
Of
but in
course
another
not.
market. Yeah,
We got you locked in. Yeah.
yeah. So I'm hoping it'll help somebody else.
Thanks, man. Yeah, let's do another one of these in 6 months or 12 months as a follow-up and see
Yeah.
how the long-term results are coming, man. I have a feeling it's going to be good for you.
Yeah, absolutely, man. All right. Well, I appreciate it.
Thanks, Miles. Take care.
All right. Take care. See
See
ya.
ya. Bye.